anytime that people can stretch us out. But Zach's gotten so much better in ball screen defense and switching and guarding people and doing different things. But we had wearing USA basketball. He's a talent. But I obviously, I always say the adjustment to go against Zach, it takes a game. It takes a game just to kind of feel your way through it. It's like playing a good pressing team, and you press in practice, and you're not a pressing team. And okay, we're ready for this team. And then you get to the game, and it's like, oh shit, we didn't see this in practice. Like you ain't seeing that in practice. So that's difficult to see someone that can move that 7'4", 300, size 20s, that plays hard every single play. You just, who the hell's diving up 18 at 7'4", 300? Like it just kind of shows you who he is.
You mentioned earlier the importance of doing well on a road game, coming in the road game. What do you find out about a team when they do that? What do you find out?
Just the resolve. Like that isn't easy. Like that's an unbelievable environment. Like the fans here are amazing, man. They come out, they support their team. They've been spoiled through the years. They've had some great teams here. A lot of tradition here, but like to be able to come in here to be up 22 at half is a huge statement for our team. Like just the confidence, and because we've come back-to-back years, and the first half been terrible. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fans and the players of Indiana. They made us play that way. And tonight, we didn't. But we did it in this Hornets nest, which is a big compliment to our team.
You mentioned Mason. How pleased were you with the minutes you got from Caleb and Ethan as well?
Yeah, Ethan played well. Ethan came in and defended, did some really good things, made good decisions. Caleb had some really good minutes in the first half. We stayed with Zach a little bit more in the second half, so that shortened it for him. I thought Mason had a really good first half. He really helped us in that first half. You look at his plus minus. Then at the start of the second half, we just felt like we had to get somebody more physical on Renew after we had that struggle the first 5-6 minutes, and I thought Trey Kaufman did a really good job.
Matt, people are talking about Zach now as a lottery player.
Mm-hmm.
What improvements have you seen that make him a lottery player?
Well, we veered more in ball screens. We've switched more when the ball's gotten deep. And so like his ability to guard the basketball, his ability to get out on the perimeter, when you compare it to somebody 6'8", 210, it's a lot different, right? But when you compare it to people his size, he's really moving. Like he's really doing a good job. He makes his free throws. He can shoot on the perimeter. I just don't let him, even though people get upset about it. But who would really like if he shot on the perimeter? Those guys guarding him. They'd really like that. I love just keep going at it like a football mentality. Just keep making him pay. Just keep posting. You're not going to keep the guy, right? He's not going to be a 15-year vet at Purdue, right? You don't keep him. Like you gotta let them play to their strengths right there. But no, he protects the rim better. When he gets a foul, like we get him to stay on his feet. So when you saw Sparks make that one and do whatever, our whole bench is just yelling at him to stay down, just stay down, because we don't need him to get two. We don't. And so a little bit of that. But he's improved defensively. He's a willing passer. He doesn't have the bullshit because he didn't get recruited. That's the best way I could say it. These guys get recruited and they come here and then they got to field a team, and now you got to come in and play a role. It's like the great college players. If you can't rebound and you can't defend and you can't play a role in the NBA, you can't play in the NBA outside of like 3 or 4 guys in a draft. All right, you got to be able to do those things. He does a lot of little things that help the team win, and so that's why I think they got a place there for him, because those things have improved. But he can rebound, he can pass, he can score this back to the basket. I think he's got a spot.
Right. Matt, just Lance made a bunch of threes for you, and including a big one right for the half.
Yeah.
Where do you kind of view his three-point shooting at this point in terms of your overall offensive picture, his volume right now?
Yeah, just playing off of other people. Like when you get into the situation and you have a great point guard and you have a great big guy that garner a lot of attention, just take what comes your way. And obviously he made the one that they called the illegal screen on, so he was 3 for 7, but he would have been 4 for 8. I liked at the end of the game just how hard he ran on the break and went and got us a couple layups. We've had teams where we didn't have that, right? And so when we had Carson or we had J.I., those guys could get us those type of buckets. But when we haven't had those type of guys, he's not at their level. But that's what we need. We need him to be able to steal some baskets in transition and then just take his threes that come his way.
You've talked about Mbako and Ware and the impact that they had. I think it was 12-9 when both those guys came out in the first half, and then by the time they came back, you guys are really pulled away. What do you feel like changed for Indiana with those guys off the floor, and what were you able to take advantage of?
Yeah, well, you have a little bit of a drop-off. when you're like, Khalil Warren and Baca are probably going to be in the NBA, right? And you have a little bit of a drop off. Zach Edey gets in foul trouble, he goes out. Even though we have good players, you have a little bit of a drop off, right? And so, that's what you want to be able to do, and that's what I constantly try to do through the development of our program and have guys, is make sure you have enough guys when foul trouble hits or injuries hit, you have guys that are ready to roll and ready to play. And that's really hard because everybody wants to, everybody wants to start, everybody wants to play 30 minutes. It doesn't work that way. So it's hard to field a team these days in this landscape, but we definitely took advantage of it. No different than Nebraska took advantage of us when Zach went out at the end of the first half in our game with them.
Last one, Mike.
You mentioned this play earlier, but was your favorite play with Zach tonight to see him go to the floor after a loose ball?
Yeah, no question. Instinctually do it. Not where you had to like, oh, I guess I got to do this. Like, no, he instinctually dove and got us a loose ball and got the possession back. No question about it. So he's fun to coach.
Thank you.